Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pipe Cottage. This is Alan Harrelson here with a very, very special guest today. And we have Brian Levine from pipesmagazine.com. He is the host of Pipes Magazine Radio. He's also the co-founder of the Las Vegas Pipe Show, which is coming up this year in the fall. And so this is a real treat for me to have Brian on the channel today. And Brian, it is such an honor to have you here speaking to the Pipe Cottage crowd.
I got to say, first of all, if anybody's confused, Alan over there is the one with the real PhD and can actually grow a beard. I unfortunately can't. I couldn't win the best beard in a 5th grade schoolroom.
Well, I didn't realize that I could grow a beard until I was engaged to my wife. I was clean shaven until about 7 years ago. And she said, "Oh, I bet you would look good with a beard." I said, "You mean I need something to help cover up the ugly?" But no, I haven't gone back. But I did shave it off a couple of times, but I like it.
Yeah.
But Brian, I'm just going to cut to the chase and let's tell people about this. First of all, tell people about Pipes Magazine Radio and how they can find you and how long you've been doing a podcast.
So the Pipes Magazine Radio show is everywhere that podcasts are, including you can also go and you can hear all 560 plus episodes. They're on pipesmagazine.com right now, so you can go back through there and click and play. Some of the podcast players, like I believe Apple Podcasts, will only go back like 500 shows or something like that. So yeah, we're going on. We are actually after I'm done talking to you right now, I'm going to record show number 565. So we've been doing it for 565 weeks in a row, never missed a week, never repeated a show. We've had some repeat guests, but when the podcast started, Kevin Godby, who owns pipesmagazine.com, wanted to add an audio component to the magazine, to the online magazine. And my entire thesis statement for the show was it should sound like the conversations that you hear at a pipe show or at a pipe club meeting.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, and I would encourage anybody who is listening to the Pipe Cottage material, if you really want a fantastic collection of conversations, we have more than Country Squire Radio. We have Brian Levine with Pipes Magazine Radio, and I have to be honest, I don't listen to podcasts very much. I quit listening to a lot of content when I started making my own, because there's something about, and I just don't want to be influenced by what other people are doing. Yeah. But I know that many people who are just getting started in pipe smoking, they found this channel, and that's what introduces them to it. But there's far more to this than just me. And I am just a little blip on the radar. But Brian, I want to talk a little bit about this Las Vegas Pipe Show. When did this start, and what's the history behind it?
So, to the best of my knowledge, originally it was the West Coast Pipe Show, and the current incarnation started in November of 2009. It was reborn by Steve O'Neill and Marty Pulvers. There had been West Coast pipe shows that were in Las Vegas in the 90s, and there were some West Coast pipe shows that were in Southern California, so it kind of bounced around a little bit. It may have been up in Reno a couple of times, but then in the 80s and 90s, it kind of took a break, and then they brought it back in 2009. Post-COVID, both Steve and Marty, I believe Marty just celebrated his 77th birthday. they were not sure they had the energy to bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave Peterson, my partner in the Las Vegas International Pipe Show, we're on a regular Saturday Zoom group. That Zoom group's got more doctors of pipes and real PhDs in it than it has dummies like me. But Dave and I were talking to Marty on it, and we looked at each other and said, if it's gonna, what do you think? Should we do it? Should we take it over? And we went through the process. We talked to Steve O'Neill and got his blessing, because I wasn't going to take over his baby without getting his blessing first. And a year ago, May, we signed the contract with the hotel for last year, and then it was a success to the point for us where we ended up paying for our own transportation, our own meals, and most of our hotel rooms, and still came away with a few bucks in our pocket to keep the show going for next year. So that's kind of the history of it in a snippet. It was always thought of as the only pipe show west of the Rockies, and now we wanted to kind of make it an international sounding thing and try to grow it.
All right. Yeah, good. Well, I've not been to the Vegas show, and I'm planning to. I am doing everything I can to make it this year. I just have to find somebody to take care of the kids. So I've been to the Ohio show, and I've been to Muletown. I've been to a couple of other events, and it's always a fun time because you get to meet people who you ordinarily only talk to online and who you meet in the digital world. But I think that pipe smugglers are craving that eye-to-eye connection with people and craving that conversation. So I've been to Ohio. I've been to other shows. What can people expect if they go to Vegas? What is the unique contribution of the Vegas show to this world of pipe smoking?
We are currently the only pipe show where you can actually smoke inside the showroom, inside with an attached smoking lounge area. You can get a smoking hotel room, although those sold out pretty darn quick, but the hotel gives us control of the 14th floor, which is their smoking rooms floor. So you can go, even if you're not on that floor, you can still go up the elevator and go room hopping. So starting on Wednesday before the show, there will be some hospitality suites open. There will be some vendors that will open up. By Friday night, we'll probably have intermittent, mixed in with dinners and stuff. We'll probably have 12, 14 hotel rooms where you can just walk in, introduce yourself, and start talking. And there might be bottles of brown liquor or white liquor or just soft drinks there for, depending on what each suite is doing. And then you also have the entire hotel. You have the entire casino, where Las Vegas, if it may not be your type of town, but there is a couple bars down there where you can sit down at the bar, order a drink with a couple of friends, and light up your pipe, and the bartender is just going to look at you like it's a normal day. So, find me a place where you can sit at a bar and be served a drink, whatever kind it may be, and smoke a pipe. We put on a Saturday night dinner, and one of the young guys that was at the show last year said to me, it was amazing. The guy finished his salad and lit up his pipe right there at the table. I'd never seen anybody ever sit at a dinner table and smoke. And that was what happened.
Oh, good. Well, that is certainly unique. I mean, I have never been to a show where you can smoke. So you can smoke your pipe in the room where the vendors are located, and in the ballroom area, and that is highly unique. They don't have that at Chicago.
No, not at Chicago, not in Columbus, Muletown, because Pete and the gang own that building. That's the closest thing we've got.
Yeah.
The difference is our smoking lounge area, which is just tables and chairs and a cash bar. Our smoking lounge area is about 2,000 square feet, and our showroom area is about 9,000 this year.
Mhm.
So I was talking to Pete after this past show, because on Saturday you had to request a reservation to move your elbow because it was jammed in there so tight.
Yeah.
At Muletown, but you know, just a
Yeah,
great event.
it was such a blast. I mean, that's probably my favorite time. I remember more moments during that show than any other event I've been to,
Yeah,
because it's so tight, it's so close. You have people who are running into you all the time, and you know a lot of them. And if you're a presenter, they know who you are. And so it's wonderful to be able to shake the hands with people who appreciate your content.
yeah.
And that's one of the only ways I know to do it, is to go to a pipe show. I've never been to Chicago. I am afraid to go to Chicago, Illinois. I am not a big city guy. And maybe one day I'll do it. But so let's talk about the history of pipe shows in general in this
Well,
broader.
let me back up for a minute for you,
Okay.
because you said you're not a big city guy.
No.
I grew up in Los Angeles. I lived in Las Vegas. I now live in the suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina, because I don't like the big cities. What happens when you get to the Chicago Pipe Show, or even Las Vegas or Columbus, is you get into, it's kind of like a summer, it's like a weekend retreat, really, where you get in with this group of people and you're at this place and the place no longer matters.
Yeah.
You know, once going to Chicago, once you survive landing or driving through the city of Chicago and you get to the hotel, you're pretty much in that 1 mile radius out in the suburbs. With the Vegas Pipe Show, once you get through the airport and you get into your taxi and they take you right to the Palace Station, you can stay in the Palace Station or within walking distance of, there's 18 to 20 different restaurants within a 5-minute safe and easy walk outside for 5 days. You don't have to leave that little bubble, kind of.
Yes.
So
That's the way it was at Columbus.
yeah,
Columbus, I don't like that's even too big for me. But I just drove to the hotel, and I did not move for the rest of the show. I didn't
yeah,
have to. They had a wonderful restaurant there inside the hotel, and you had everything you needed. You had food, you had bourbon, you had pipes, you had tobacco, you had friends. And when the time
yeah,
came, you had a bed to put your head down on.
yeah.
And so it really doesn't matter where it's at. What matters is the quality of the show itself. And I'm looking forward, if I can make it happen. I'm 99% certain I can make it happen. I'm looking forward to the Vegas show this year. But I do want to talk a little bit about the general history of pipe shows and how they have evolved. Because a lot of people who follow me are very much interested in the history of pipe smoking and how this culture has changed from the heyday of pipe smoking, which many people see as the middle of the 20th century, up through today. But I think that more people are involved with pipe smoking now probably than were maybe 10, 15 years ago.
I would agree with you.
There's a lot more variety in the pipes and the types of tobaccos that people can purchase. And so I just want to pick your brain a little bit, your experience. What has happened to the history of pipe shows during the time that you have been attending them? How have pipe shows changed?
So my first pipe show was in fall of 1999, and it was put on by a retailer up in Albany, New York. And that was part of my territory when I was on the wholesale side. Prior to that, pipe shows had been kind of intermittent. There was the pipe, there was a group called the PCA, which was, I think, the Pipe Collectors of America, which was put on by a guy named Barry Levine, and they would meet. He would get all these suppliers to send in stuff, and they were kind of like very large, giant trunk shows with some collectors that would come and show their stuff. When I started in 99, it was there were two styles. There was either an event that was sponsored by a retailer and it had their suppliers that were coming in and giving you specials. So it was a very big trunk show event. Or there were the collector clubs. And the two big ones when I started were the Chicago Pipe Club and the Conclave of Richmond Pipe Smokers. These were enthusiast run organizations that would hold an event once a year, and most of the tables were you and me just coming and showing our stuff. It was maybe there was a trading of pipes or stuff like that, but it was very little direct commerce. It was a collector's swap and show. And then by 2002 or 3, then the evil suppliers like me started to realize, wait a second, this is a great place to come and promote our product, get samples out in front of people. Back then, when I was working for Peter Stokeby International, we could sample freely. As long as you were over 18 and you looked like you were over 18, here, have an ounce. There you go. Hand them out like candy. So then you started to get the individual pipe makers that came, and the collectors tables became fewer and fewer, and just the showing of pipes became fewer and fewer. So it kind of morphed into a place for suppliers, pipe makers, tobacco manufacturers, maybe some retailers would come and offer discounts on stuff, and it became more of a buy and see event than that. I think really there was a peak of interest in pipe shows in like 2008 was when the internet hadn't figured things out quite yet. And there were chat groups and there were people that were interested in seeing all this stuff. So attendance got really big at these pipe shows. And then the world financial crisis in 2009 kind of brought attendance down and ran up prices on stuff. And now we've come to a new level where it's what I like about it more is it's coming back more to that idea of camaraderie, fellowship. And if you happen to do commerce or see something that you like, great, pick it up. Yeah. And then the smoking bans across the country hurt some shows. Here I am sitting in the state of North Carolina, the #1 tobacco grower in the United States. And in 2009, they made it to where the only place you can smoke is in a tobacco shop or a private club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's an unfortunate situation that we're having to deal with across the country. I mean, but it is what it is. There's very little we can do about that. So, what you're telling me is that pipe shows have become more commercialized in the past 25 years.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, but when you go to a pipe show, at least this is my experience, when you walk in, you don't feel like you're being bombarded by companies asking you to sell, asking you to buy this item or that item. You can actually get to know a lot of these people who are selling items on a personal level, and because you see a lot of the same people from one show to the next, and so it's almost as if pipe smokers are looking forward to these shows like Christmas time. This is the time when you can not only have good camaraderie and conviviality, but you can find some pretty cool stuff that you cannot find to purchase in other atmospheres. So at the Vegas show, do y'all have people who are selling antique tins or aged tins of tobacco and estate pipes and that sort of thing?
We had last year, we had everything from there was a $12,000 Bow Nord handmade pipe on display for sale all the way down to there was one guy that had just these big old boxes of estate pipes, and I think it was I think they were $5 each or 5 for 20, and you could just rummage through and pick out whatever you wanted. This year we have Missouri Meerschaum coming, so they'll have something, you know, at that price range all the way up. We've got vintage tobaccos, and you'll find that there's some discounts on tobaccos too, because some people, especially the private collectors, we have probably right now I think we've got about 16 tables of private collectors that may be bringing their stuff and just putting it out for, you know, whatever, just to get money back out of it. Or
Yeah.
So it's every range. There is no there's no elitism, there's no snobbery. I think I'll quote myself, but even the same thing I've said on the podcast since the beginning was, I don't care if you smoke a cherry flavored aromatic in a corncob pipe or a 25-year-old aged English in a, you know, perfect straight grain. You're a pipe smoker. You're a friend of mine. But we have you know, we welcome everybody that enjoys a pipe with tobacco. Now, if you're into that other 5-pointed leaf that is popular in some states now, don't come. And we don't even allow that kind of product to be sold in there.
Yeah. I've made it clear on this channel that I'm not in support of that. That's not the culture that we're about on the Pipe Cottage channel.
Yeah.
And I've had some pushback about it, and because I have gone on record as saying that God himself has produced tobacco leaves, and I think that it's here for a solace. I think that it's a source of solace. And then the pushback is, well, he made other kinds of plants too. And my response is, well, he made poison hemlock and oleander leaves. That doesn't mean I'm going to put it in my pipe and smoke it. No, this is about pipe smoking. This is the Las Vegas Pipe Show. So, Brian, what are the dates of the show?
We open the smoking lounge Friday night, October 13th. So you want to come to Vegas on a Friday the 13th? Yeah, it'll be lucky for you. That opens at 5 o'clock at night, stays open till midnight. It's that Friday night is just a cash bar in the corner, open camaraderie. And on that Friday night, we put out about, I think we're going to try to squeeze 8-foot tables onto the edge of the room. And we call that the collector showcase. So no reservations for it, no space required, whatever. You want to bring your favorite pipes and set them out just to show people, that space is wide open for you. And that goes on until midnight when we give you all the boot and lock the doors. And then Saturday, the show opens to the public at 10 a.m. and closes at 5. The smoking lounge stays open until midnight that night. And then at midnight, we actually have a security guard in the room on Saturday night, and he tells you, you know, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Get out. Because now we've got all those pipes laid out on the I think we'll have about 90 tables by the time we're done.
Good.
And then Sunday the 15th is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for the show, and then the room has to be cleared at 5 p.m.
I see. So people don't have to go and just go to the pipe show. I mean, how close is Vegas to the Grand Canyon and stuff like that? I mean, if people, because I know some people have talked to me and they're thinking about making a week-long vacation out of this.
Oh, absolutely. So you can, from Las Vegas, you can do a bus tour for the day to the north rim of the Grand Canyon, or you can take a small chartered, I think they still have them, the small little chartered air flights that go to the south rim, which is the prettier part. You can get a rental car, and from the Palace Station to Red Rock Canyon is about a 35-40 minute drive.
Okay.
If you're a Star Trek fan, you can drive the other direction and go to Valley of Fire State Park, which is where they filmed a couple of the I think it was Star Trek Wrath of Khan was shot out there, and that's about an hour-and-a-half drive. You're about a 2.5-hour drive to southern Utah, which is where Bryce and Zion national parks are, and just well worth it. And October is the perfect weather for out there because we'll have an average high of about 75 degrees, maybe 80, and going down to 50 at night.
Yeah.
So
Well,
if you don't want to go out to the wilds of the desert, you can take your pipe and go down to the wilds of the Las Vegas Strip and have perfectly comfortable walking weather and walk along and smoke your pipe and nobody will say anything.
that's good. That's good. Brian, I don't like my videos to go too much longer than what we've already done here. And there's some background noise. Evidently the fellow who cuts our grass has decided to start doing that right now. and so that's going to disrupt things. But Brian, this gives people a good idea of what's going on at Vegas.
Yeah.
And if people want to know more about that, you do have a website, right?
VegasPipeshow.com. You can pay your admissions. If you book everything before September 10th or by September 10th, you get the slightly discounted pre-registration price. You can even buy hats like this for $15 pre-ordered. It's all right there. There's all kinds of questions. There's an FAQ, and my email and Dave Peterson's emails are at the bottom of each page. And you can check out all of our show sponsors down there, including a certain pipe cottage.
Yes, it is. It is good to be helping with a sponsorship for this show. So that's our honor to be able to help with that. Brian, it's been such a privilege and an honor to sit here and talk with you for a few minutes. And this is going to help a lot of people who follow the Pipe Cottage to learn more about you, your work with the podcast, pipesmagazine.com, and certainly the Vegas Pipe Show. Any final words you would like to say to folks who follow the Pipe Cottage?
The Pipes Magazine radio show may not be exactly the same style or content as like a Country Squire radio is, considering I use parts of Ozzy Osbourne as my intro music. But if you don't like that kind of music, just tolerate the first minute or so and skip around, and then you'll find a whole bunch of information there. Everybody's welcome at the Pipe Show in Vegas. I mean, it's just a welcoming environment for all kinds and types, and come and hang out and spend a weekend with friends. It's also, and I wanted to comment because you had an older pipe smoking gentleman who was kind of your mentor that got you started. Well, for some of you younger guys that are thinking, I may not know what I'm doing, I want to go to a pipe show. Well, now here's a chance also for you to come and meet some older mentors and sit and talk to them and learn from them and see what they smoke, try what they smoke. I mean, you've seen at all the pipe shows you've gone to, the tables of pipe smokers sitting around with open tins and jars and stuff, and just here, try this, try that,
Yes.
So yeah, just come in, and if you don't have any friends when you get there, you will when you leave.
That's right. Good point. Glad you said that, Brian. Yeah. Well, so I've got to go, and I'm going to draw this video to a close. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Alan Harrelson with the Pipe Cottage. Thank you for stopping by.